Welcome to Advanced Data Analysis 1 with me, Erik Erhardt, Professor of Statistics at the University of New Mexico. In this video, we'll be looking at how to upgrade R, the version of R, on your Windows machine. A similar procedure is available for Mac and Linux. So I have started RStudio here, and in fact, just to go from the very start, here I will start RStudio. There we are. We haven't missed anything. So up at the top, when you start R, there's a whole bunch of header information, and the first thing that shows is R version 3.2.1. Okay, so this was released in mid-June 2015, and it has a funky name like they all do, World Famous Astronaut. So this video has immediately been dated. Now if I load a library, such as the knitter library, and press enter, if I have been updating my packages regularly, then occasionally, as a new version of R comes out, those packages will be built under the most recent version of R. And if I have an older version, I will get this warning message. Now when I get this warning message, it will often mean that I should beware that new functionality or changes may have been introduced into a package that are no longer supported on old versions of R. And if I continue to let my version of R stay old and the rest of the world moves on without me, things will start to not work or work in unexpected ways. And so it's important occasionally to update your version of R. I'm someone who does update R every time it's released, but I think as a general rule it's okay to go every 3 to 6 months before updating R. Now that will I will modify that advice for major releases. For example, this is going from version 3.2.1 up to 3.2.2. So this is a minor version release. If it were to go from version 3 to version 4, absolutely, I would update at that point. Even 3.2 up to 3.3, that's sort of a major subversion release, I would upgrade at that point. So here's the procedure for updating R. I'm going to go over to a website called CRAN. CRAN stands for the Comprehensive R Archive Network. And at CRAN, the first links are to download and install R, and there's options depending on your operating system. So I'm going to click on the Windows one, and it gives me 3 subdirectories. There's one for the base version of R. That's the one that we want to use. There's 2 additional directories. In our class, we have been using R tools for the particular passion-driven statistics package. It was required for installing that package. So if we click on base here, we get the name of the current version of R and a download link. Now these are fairly big downloads. This is 62 megs. But go ahead and click on here and it will start a download, which I've already completed, and it's ready for me sitting down in the bottom left-hand corner. Now there is, under frequently asked questions, a link here for how do I update packages in my previous version of R. So we're going from our old version of R to our new version of R. And the procedure is when we install this new executable, or from this executable, when we install R, it will create a new folder. In fact, let's go over and look at that right now. So here's the within R, or rather within Windows, this is the path to the executables in R. And some of you may have some limitations on your security settings so that you can't see these folders, and you'll want to change your rights on your machine to be able to see where the programs live in order to do this correctly. So in Windows, maybe I'll just say a couple things. Under the C drive, there are two folders. There's Program Files and Program Files x86. Now, if you have a more modern machine, your CPU will run 64-bit programs. Those 64-bit programs are under the Program Files. If you have a slightly older machine, you might be running programs that are only 32-bit. Those are under the x86. So go under the folder that's appropriate for you. I have a newer machine, so I've run 64-bit code. There is an R folder under there, and for each version of R, there is a subfolder. So there's an R-3.2.1. That's my current version. I'll soon be installing 3.2.2. So under this folder, there are some subfolders, and there's this executable which we're about to run, which is going to uninstall the old version. The library has all my packages in it. Let's go into the library and look at a few packages that we may be familiar with in here. Let's see, we've looked at ggplot2. We have looked at knitter. And let's see, the PDS package should be in here. There it is at the bottom. All right. And I happen to have many packages installed on my computer. So when I install the new version of R, I'm not going to have all these old packages. So I need a way to migrate these old packages over. And so if I go back to my browser and click on this, how do I update packages? There is, this changed around. What's the best way to upgrade? So in these, in actually this one short sentence, this tells you everything you need to know. And this is sort of the way a lot of these notes are written for R. There's a lot of information in a very little bit of writing. All right, so I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So for most people, the best thing to do is to uninstall R. So that's going to be step 1. Install the new version. That's step 2. Copy any installed packages to the library folder in the new installation. That's step 3. Step 4 is to run this command, which is going to update all of the packages to the new version of R. And then step 5 is to delete all the old stuff. All right, so those are the 5 steps we're going to follow. Uninstall R. So I'm going to go over to my Windows Explorer, and in the 3.2.1 folder, there is this uninstall 000 executable. And I'm going to double click, actually I'm going to close, let me close RStudio first. All right, so R is not running. I'll run uninstall. Are you sure you want to completely remove it? Yes, please. The first time you do this, this is going to feel scary, like it's going to delete everything from you. But I'm doing it for you so that it shouldn't be as scary. All right, it was successfully removed. And notice the only thing remaining is the library folder. And when we look in here, all those packages are still there. So goodness, thank goodness, though we won't need to, we've got a record of all the packages I had installed. Let's go back over. So we uninstalled. Now install the new version. Boy, I'm really tongue-tied on this one, this video. So I'm going to click this executable down here. I saved it to my computer earlier. I'm going to run it. I'm going to accept English as the language. I'm going to accept the license agreement. It's going to put it in the appropriate folder, program files /r/r322. And I'm going to accept the default here to install everything. Do I want to customize the startup options? I always say no to this to work in the base environment, but if you start customizing things, I'm going to leave it to you to figure out how to do that. All right. Where should the setup place your program shortcuts? I don't really care about shortcuts, but I'm willing to let it put it where it wants to. I don't put anything on my desktop. I do always save the registry information. And it's installing. So it just takes about a minute, probably much less than that. So I'll move this down a little bit. The next step is going to be to copy any installed packages to the library folder in the new installation. So we're going to copy that library folder over. So we finished the setup. I'm going to click Finish, and the new version of R is installed. I'll go over to Windows Explorer, and notice that within the R folder, there's now 2 versions of R. Within the 3.2.2, here's the new version. And in the old version, I have the library folder. I'm going to just click on the library folder, and I'm going to drag it over to move it to the 3.2.2 folder. Now notice, I can't do 2 things at once. Hold on a second. Within 3.2.2, there is a library folder here. And we effectively want to copy the old library folder into the new library folder without overwriting a bunch of the new stuff. Okay, it actually doesn't matter if you overwrite the new stuff since you're going to update it, but I'm going to move the library folder into the 3.2.2 folder, and it will ask us, do we want to merge these folders? Okay, so I'm going to say yes to this, and I'm going to make a few decisions here as it goes through. The destination contains a folder already named I386. So in the new version of R, there are already a handful of packages, it looks like about 12 down here, that already exist. I probably want to keep the new ones. So I'm going to say, do I want to merge this folder? I'm going to say skip. And I'm going to do that for all the folders that already exist. So I'll skip all of those, and looks like it's done. So if I look into the 3.2.2 library folder, what I should have shown you is how many folders there were in here before. There weren't that many. There are 311 in here now. Okay, lots of them. And if we go back and look at the 3.2.1 folder, just to see what was left behind, there's just a handful of 13 items that already existed in the new one. So at this point, I'm done with 3.2.1. I'm going to press delete and say goodbye. I'm up to 3.2.2. All right. Let's go back to the browser and look at the next step. So this is the step we just did, copy installed packages. The next step is to run update packages, check build equals true, ask equals false in the new R. So I'm going to press Control C to copy that command, and I'm going to start RStudio. RStudio is now using R version 3.2.2, which was released on August 14th, and it's called Fire Safety. So if we look in the Packages folder, it's gonna find all those packages in there. Let's look at, I guess it won't really matter. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and press Control V to paste the Update Packages command, and I'm going to press Enter. It's going to check through all the packages that I have installed and see whether the package was built under the current version. If there's a newer version, it's downloading the updated version of those packages. There are only about a dozen or so here, since I updated my packages fairly recently. And it's now taking those zip files that it just downloaded and unzipping them, which R calls unpacking them, and installing those packages. And they're now, everything's up to date. So if I go over to Packages in the right window and click Update, it now says all packages are up to date. Alright, let me go back to my instructions here. Okay, then delete anything left in the old installation. Alright, I already did that before. And so now we're all done. That's the quick and dirty way to update R, and it's really just a matter of following instructions, though I wish I had someone to point out these instructions to me when I first started. So in short, you download it from CRAN, download from the base distribution, the installation file, and then you click on the how do I update the packages to get the best way to upgrade, and you follow this one sentence that has all the important details in it. Very good.